Hi guys, here's another page in my traveler's notebook, and today I'm using a sketch from Eileen Scrapmazing and also taking part in a little YouTube hop celebrating her YouTube channel's 1 year anniversary. So since I'm working in my traveler's notebook, I'm going to flip the sketch around a little bit. So I've used the 6 squares in the sketch and made a wee photo grid with 6 squares in it. And that's what I'm going to work with today. I'm actually going to end up working almost completely outside of my notebook and then sticking everything into it. So it literally is today like a tiny little mini layout. So I grabbed this teal paper because I wanted to just bring out a bit more of the teal that was in the photos. And like I said, I'm going to work outside the notebook. So I'm just measuring out the right size on this teal paper. And the teal's going to be almost just like a border. So I am also cutting a piece of white card that will go in the middle. Well, I say card, it's actually more like paper because I'm going to stick everything down. I'm trying to keep it really thin. So that's essentially it. So I'm just going to stick the white to the teal. Of course, I've run out of tape runner again. Is there ever a video I do where I don't run out of tape runner? And so what I'm going to do is now head over to my sewing machine and just stitch around the white. And I'm also adding in the sort of banner swag that was behind the photos in Eileen's sketch. So I've just added that in just with thread, which didn't actually cut properly, so I'm going to cut that with my scissors. So I've just cut everything in half and then I can glue that into my notebook. This way, just the reason I've done it this way is so that I can get that stitching and stuff without having to try and work out how I'm going to run my notebook through the sewing machine, and also without having all that thread showing through on wall pages I've previously done and on the pages that I might use next time. So you can see I'm in the middle of my notebook, so there is a little gap, but it does mean that it folds nicely. And now I'm just going to trim down my photo collar just so it's got the same amount of white around the outside as it does through the middle. And then I can work out where that's going to go on the page, and I think it's going to sit on the right hand side. I've grabbed some alphas. I thought those blue ones might match, but they're actually way bluer than the teal. So I have got these black ones and all these cute Elle Studios pieces that I got from the stamp spot. And I'm just going through these packs and picking out any pieces that I think might work. I'm not being too specific. I'm just picking out colors that I like with these photos, and then I'll worry about where they're going later. There are a few lovely ladies participating in this YouTube hop, so I will leave the links to all their gorgeous creations down below. And like I said, Eileen is celebrating her 1 year YouTube anniversary with a month of videos. So if you head on over to her channel, you can find out how you can win some prizes by using the exact same sketch that I'm using today. So now I've got all those little bits and pieces. I'm just going to roughly stick down my photo and I'm going to put it on the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing as the sketch where the photos are sort of hanging off the banner. Except I've only got one photo essentially, and I'm just tucking in a whole pile of bits and pieces like the sketch had scattered around the photos, but I'm just scattering them all over the page. So I'm definitely not going to use all of the pieces that I've picked out, but it's nice to have just a wee pile of ones that will work to choose from. So I'm just working out where all of them are going to go. So I'm scattering a few across the photos. Some of them definitely don't work because the purple just didn't tie in anywhere. So really I'm ending up with this colour scheme that's sort of red, pink, yellow and green with maybe a little bit of teal. I just moved that piece down from the top because what I want to do is have my title hanging off that banner as well. So I'm leaving a little bit of space for that. So I think these are all of the pieces that I'm going to use. So like I said, not nearly as many as what I had pulled out originally. But I quite like the way these are looking, so I'm going to commit and stick them down. So because I'm starting on sort of the bottom left of the page and the biggest cluster of stuff is at the top right, it does sort of draw your eye up the page, and I really like that. I don't often date stamp stuff in my traveler's notebook, but actually when I've been going back through some of my walkthroughs, I really wish I had. So this time I actually did damp date it. This was the date that we actually went to this exhibition, and I just thought it would be nice to have that in there so I knew when it was we actually went. So I'm just committing, and I layered that here and now piece on some vellum, and so I'm going to just tuck one of the hearts in front and one behind just to give a bit more texture. I'm not sure where that heart's going, but I'm just going to stick it down. Couldn't decide whether to put it in front or behind. In the end I put it behind. And then I can go ahead and put my title on. So I'm just, because they're not going to be straight, I'm just using the sort of thread that I've stitched in there as a bit of a guideline, and I'm not sticking anything down, I'm just placing them really carefully just to make sure that the whole word was actually going to fit. And it does, so then I can be a bit more specific, and I did grab a pair of tweezers to do that because this was a fiddly little job. Just spreading them out and sticking them down. Now, what I had actually wanted my title to be was What an Exhibition, and I thought those black alphas were going to be a little bit too heavy to do that on top of the thread as well. So I wondered about maybe using another tag and like handwriting it, but I didn't like the straightness like with that sort of swag effect. So I went through my very old stash of alpha stickers and I found a few that I thought might work, and in the end I chose these pink ones to add in the rest of my title, which I think turned out really well because it actually ties in the rest of the pink on the page. So I wondered about an exclamation mark too, but that alpha sheet didn't have one, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And as usual, I am going to add my journaling, which I've just typed on my typewriter. I'm cutting into strips and going to glue down with my Martha Stewart glue pen. I must use these tweezers more often because it really did make it much easier. So I've added the journaling in two pieces really because it was sort of about two separate things. And then I just wanted to add just a little bit more embellishment, which, you know, I know is odd for me since I'm normally a bit more of a simple scrapper. But I also wanted to keep this really flat. And I also had these L Studio washi strips from the Stamp Spot as well. So I grabbed the little heart one, and I'm actually like not really fussy cutting, but sort of cutting around the little hearts and sticking them down all over the place like tiny little embellishments. I thought I was going to do 5, but I decided to add just a few more, a couple by the title and one just to draw your eye right over to the right hand side of the page. And that is this page all done. Do check out the other videos in this hop, and don't forget to head on over to Eileen's channel where you can use this sketch to win a prize. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!